What's up, YouTube? It's the man of Dorks here. My name is Jeremy, and today we're bringing you a deck tech on my brother Zach's Urza deck. Is the mono blue commander that everyone hates. But without further ado, we're going to break it down. This is a CDH deck, and I'm going to let Zach have it.
So my commander is Urza, Lord High Artificer. He's 2 colorless, 2 blue, and whenever he enters, I get a construct that gets 1/1 for each other artifact I control, and then he lets me tap other artifacts for blue, even if they are creatures that are unaffected by summoning sickness. Like, we got Memnite here. If I tapped him, he would produce a blue. Summoning sickness wouldn't affect it.
Yep.
And then I could pay 5, shuffle my deck, exile the top card of my library, and I may play that card without paying its mana cost. And then my 0 drops are Memnite, Phyrexian Walker, and Ornithopter. Memnite does nothing special. He's a 1/1. Phyrexian Walker's 0/3. And then Ornithopter is a 0/2 with flying. And then my 2 drops are Pili Pala and Thassa's Oracle. These are both my win cons. Urza plus another card plus him will basically net me infinite mana, so then I could infinitely cast my entire deck, and then which will lead to a win with Thassa's Oracle. And then 3 drops. Alright. So we got Labman, which is another win con. If I draw a card while I have no cards in my library, I win the game. Chrome Seed Shark, whenever I cast a non-creature spell, I incubate X, where X that spell's mana value. So an incubator token is something I could tap with Urza because they're artifacts. And then I have Trinket Mage, which lets me search for a 1 or less artifact and put it into my hand. And then I have Foundry Inspector. My artifact spells cost 1 less to cast. And then I have Tribute Mage, which lets me search for exactly a 2-cost card. And then the Mechanist Aerial Artisan lets me, whenever I cast a non-creature spell, I create a clue token. And then I can have tap him until in a turn target artifact token you control becomes a 3/1 construct token with flying. 4 drops. I have Displacer Kitten and Phyrexian Metamorph. Displacer Kitten, whenever I cast a non-creature spell, I return a non-land permanent. I basically blink something. And then Phyrexian Metamorph enters as the copy of an artifact, of any artifact or creature on the battlefield. 7 drop, Prime Mirror Queen, also known as Hullbreaker Horror, has flash, can't be countered, and whenever I cast a spell, I can choose one, and I can return a spell I don't control to its owner's hand, or I could return a target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, which enables an infinite loop with Urza, which will produce infinite mana. So if I have 0 drops, I can just cast one, tap this one for blue, bounce it back to my hand, and just repeat this process with Urza on the battlefield. And then Tidesprout Tyrant does the same thing as Hullbreaker Horror second effect. Whenever I cast a spell, return the target permanent to its owner's hand, and I can do that loop again with Urza. Walking Ballista. Basically, I can infinite mana, and then I can walk it Ballista everyone away when I get my infinite mana on the board. And then Karn enables a lockdown with another card of my deck, Microsynth Lattice. Opponents can't tap their lands for mana. And then Karn lets me turn a non-creature artifact becomes an artifact creature with power and toughness equal to its mana value. Or it can -2 and reveal an artifact card from outside the game, put it into my hand. And then Preordain is my only sorcery in the entire deck. Scry 2, draw a card. 1 drops for enchantments. Mystic Remora, Training Ground. Training Ground's part of part of my infinite loops. And then Mystic Remora, whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, they pay 4. And if they don't, I draw a card.
Don't forget, Mystic Remora does contain a cumulative upkeep.
Cumulative keep of 1. It goes up at every turn. So it goes from 1 to 2 to 3.
Yep, to 4, and then if you can't pay it at the 1 point, it goes away.
2-drop, copy artifact. It's an enchantment that enters the battlefield as a copy of any artifact on the battlefield. And then I have Ristic Study.
Do you pay the 1?
Do you pay the 1? And then my 1-drop instance. I have Brainstorm, draw 3, put 2 cards on top of my library in any order. Aunt, scry 1, draw a card. Mystical Tutor, search my library for an instant or sorcery card, reveal it, and put that card on top of my library after I shuffle. And then I have Swan Song, counter target enchantment, instant or sorcery spell, and its controller gets a 2/2 bird. 2 drops. Telling time. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 in the hand, 1 on top, and 1 on bottom of your library. Dramatic Reversal goes with another card. It's an artifact. Isorcon Scepter, I believe. And it basically will let me untap all my artifacts indefinitely. Muddle in the Mixture, it's a counter spell. It has Transmute. Basically, it'll let me search for 3, or I can counter an instant or sorcery spell with it. Then, Cyclonic Rift. Return target non-land permanent I don't control to its owner's hand, or I can overload it and change target to each non-land permanent I don't own to their owner's hand. And then my 3 drops are Frantic Search, draw 2, discard 2, untap 3 lands. And then Fierce Guardianship, control your commander, it's a free counter non-creature spell. 4 drops. Scare on Scrap, I could choose 1 or both, really good card. Search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then its other effect is return artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, Mindbreak Trap, it's a free counter spell. If there are 4 or more spells, well, 3 or more spells that were cast, then I can cast it for free, and I could exile all spells from the stack. Or abilities. And then Katara's Reversal, it has counter up to 4 target spells and abilities, untap 4 target artifacts and or creatures. So, combos with Urza. Oh. I have 1 5-drop, Force of Will, I can pay 1 life, remove a blue card from my hand instead, and I can cast a card for free.
And you got pay a life. It's just basically, it's the CEDH counter spell. You exile a blue card from your hand, pay a life, counter a spell. Nasty.
Word of Invention, it lets me tap artifacts. I could basically tutor for any artifact in my deck with it and put it on the battlefield. And
we're into the good stuff.
0-drop artifacts.
Just do like 4 or 5 at a time. You only got so much border space.
Alright, so we'll do the first 6 Chrome Mox. When it enters the battlefield, I exile a non-artifact, non-land card from my hand, and then it produces a mana of any of the exile cards' colors. Mox Amber adds 1 mana of any color among legendary creatures I control. Lotus Petal, sack it, add 1 mana of any color to my mana pool. Tormod's Crypt, sacrifice it, exile a card from target player's graveyard. Everflowing Chalice has a kicker effect, which I never really use in Urza because I can just tap it with Urza for a blue mana. And then Darksteel Relic is legitimately an indestructible 0-drop artifact that I can tap with Urza for blue mana.
Yep, that's what's cool about those Moxes, is you could tap them for blue, even the Chrome Mox, without exiling a card. Urza just makes them live. Basically, all your 0-drops are Moxes.
Alright, 3 more 0-drops. I got Paradise Mantle, which combos with, if I get Training Ground and Pila on the battlefield, basically enables an infinite mana production. I'll tap Pila with this, and then untap it for 1 and net 1 mana each time. Spellbook, I have no maximum hand size, I can tap with Urza. Mishra's Bauble is a 0-drop artifact. Sacrifice it, look at top card of target player's library, and then I draw a card at the beginning and next upkeep.
All great rocks.
1-drops. Do these 5 for now. We have Soul Ring. Everyone knows what Soul Ring does. Mana Vault doesn't untap during your upkeep. If it remains tapped during your upkeep, it deals 1 damage to me. I can pay for and tap it. and I could tap it and add 3 colorless mana. I'm pretty sure most people know what Sensei's Divining Top does, but I'll explain it. Pay 1, look at the top 3, your library, and then put them back in any order, and then I could tap the top of the draw card and put top on top. Voyager Staff. Pay 2, sacrifice Voyager Staff, exile target creature, return it. Exiled card to the battlefield under its own control at the beginning of next end step. Alter Brood is really fun with Urza, especially if I get my token producers. Whenever another permanent you control enters the battlefield, each opponent mills a card. We couldn't make Urza any more worse with mill. More 1-drops. We have Voltic Key, which is pay 1, untap target artifact. Manifold Key, pay 1, untap another target artifact, and that, or I could pay 3, target creature can't be blocked this turn. And then we have Commander's Plate. Equipped creature gets +3 and +3 and has protection from each color that's not in the commander's identity. And it's 3 to equip to commander, 5 to equip to any other creature. 2-drops, we have these. We got Defense Grid. Each spell costs 3 more to cast except during its controller's turn. We have Winter Orb. You can only untap 1 land while it's on the battlefield, as long as Winter Orb is untapped. Lightning Greaves. Equipped creature has haste and shroud. Protection for Urza. Sapphire Medallion. Blue spells cost 1 less to cast. Arcane Signet. Everyone knows what Arcane Signet does. Add 1 mana of any color. Isochron Scepter is a card that combos with Dramatic Reversal for infinite mana with Urza also. When it enters, I can imprint an instant card, so Dramatic Reversal, or any of my other counter spells that's a 2-drop or less to it. And then I could pay 2, tap Scepter, and cast a copy of that card without paying its mana cost. Then we have Thought Vessel. No maximum hand size, produce a colorless mana.
The thing with your Winter Orb, too, is you can lock everyone else out of the game except you. Because Urza can tap it during their end step, allowing you to untap everything.
Howling Mind is my last 2-drop. At the beginning of each player's draw step, Howling Mind, if it's untapped, that player draws a card. So basically, I tap it at...
you'll tap it during your turn after you've drawn, and then get a blue mana, and then they don't get nothing.
I'll tap it during my end step.
Yep.
So 3-drops. Alright, we have Commander Sphere. Add 1 mana of any color, sacrifice Commander Sphere, draw a card. Basalt Monolith doesn't attack during upkeep, and it taps for 3 colorless, and then I could pay 3, untap it. Repurposing Bay lets me pay 2, sacrifice another artifact, search my library for mana value +1 to that card's mana value. Activate only as a sorcery. Heartzone reduces the activity cost of creature cards by 1. So basically reduces Urza and Pala. Sculpting Steel enters the battlefield, a copy of any artifact. Simulacrum Synthesizer, when it enters the battlefield, scry 2, and whenever another artifact with mana value 3 or greater enters the battlefield, I create a construct like Urza. Four drops. Unwinding Cock.
What did he say?
Untap all artifacts you control during each other's player's unstep. And then One Ring. Indestructible artifact.
We're sorry, guys. We're going to have to censor that.
When One Ring enters the battlefield, I gain protection from everything for until my next turn. At the beginning of your end step.
We're sorry, guys. That was just too funny.
At the beginning of your end step, you lose 1 life for each burden counter on One Ring. Then I could tap it, put a burden counter, and draw a card for each burden counter on One Ring. And know what? Microsynth Lattice. All permits are artifacts in addition to their other types. It's what creates the loop with Karn. Makes it to where players can't play the game. Yep. I tell people now.
Yep.
Time for the lands. So we have Gemstone Cavern. I can basically, if I go second, if it's in my opening hand, I can put it on the battlefield immediately, but I have to exile a card. And then it produces a mana of any color. Inventor's Fair. At the beginning of my upkeep, if I have 3 or more artifacts, I gain a life. I could tap for colors, and then I could pay for, sacrifice, enters fair, search my deck for any artifact, and put it into my hand. For my revolt, lets me tap it for colors, or I could pay 3, tap it, discard a card, look at the top X cards of my library, where X is the number of artifacts I control, and I could put one of those in my hand and put the rest in any order. Uthros is Gaia's Cradles for artifacts, and how I enable is I have to tap creatures, and then it gets counters for that creature's power. And then I could pay blue.
It's basically Tolarian Academy, I think. Is that
Yeah,
what it's called?
Tolarian Command Academy. Urza Saga, first chapter, adds a colorless mana. Second chapter, I could pay 2, tap it, create a construct like Urza. And then on the third chapter, it sacrifices, and I get to search for a 0 1-drop artifact. Ancient Tomb is a task for 2 colorless, but then it deals 2 damage to me. Cavern of Souls enters the battlefield. I choose a creature type. I can use it to tap for a color mana for that creature type, but then it can't be countered if I use that colored mana for it, or it taps for a colorless. War of Invention enters the battlefield tapped unless I control an island. I can pay a blue, tap it. Next spell I cast has Improvise, so Improvise lets me tap my artifacts to cast this next spell. Seat of Synod, it's an artifact land. It taps for blue. Buried Ruin, taps for colorless. Pay 2, sack this land. I can put a target artifact from my graveyard into my hand. What's this type of card called?
The MDFC.
MDFC, so for Springs, I could pay 3, make it enter untapped.
You can place it on the field.
Or flip it into Sink into Stupor.
Which is a great card.
Return target spell or non-land permanent to its owner's hand.
So.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 islands.
Well, there you guys have it. That is his Urza deck. I'm definitely going to have to censor that one part because that was very funny. But yeah, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, ask questions about his deck. And we appreciate you guys watching the video. And we hope to ramp your experience with a new deck coming soon.